So do you know when the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence signed their names to that document, that they were officially signing their names, as it were, to treason? Well, hi friends, I'm Brian Cosby, this is Provide and Protect, and today we're talking about the Declaration of Independence on this July 4th weekend. But there's a few things I think are important about this document that is relevant, not only to 1776, but for 2025 and beyond. All right, so they signed this in Congress July 4th, 1776, and this is just the opening statement. This is all it says. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to separation. Okay, there's the opening part. Then it says, when a long train of abuses and usurpations, so this is from King George III in England, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, listen, it is their duty, they say, to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. All right, so when I think about that, new guards for their future security, their intention is that they would be secure. In other words, provided for and protected. Provide and protect. And then they say, such has been the patient sufferances of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. And what they do, the signers here, and Thomas Jefferson, who is known as the architect of the Declaration of Independence, what they do is they go through 27 specific grievances that they have with the King of England, King George. And so they go through each one of these very specifically and show why they have the right to separate. And really you're thinking, well, okay, could anybody do that today? I mean, it really goes back to Samuel Rutherford's Lex Rex in the 17th century. That's what they're basing a lot of this on. And so they're appealing to a higher law here. Rutherford would state that the magistrate or the king in England or whoever holds their position in trust to the people. In other words, it's like a fiduciary duty that the king would have to the people. And if the king usurped or did something to violate the covenant that the king had with the people, then the people had every right to overthrow the king. Okay? So there's the theological political foundation of this declaration. And then it ends, I'm just going to read the ending of it here. Again, go back and read it for yourself. But let me read just the end for you. It says, in every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. And then here's the final paragraph. He says, we therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the supreme judge of the world, that is God, for the rectitude of our intentions due in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And it has 56 names that are signed here. But what I want you to understand in what I'm doing today is to think about what those signers were doing. In essence, what they were doing when they signed their name, I mean, if you were there, imagine you being there, and you signed your name to that document, and you were stating that we are going to be independent, and we are declaring this independence from Great Britain. What you were essentially doing was saying, you know what? Come what may, we're going to fight for our liberty, and there's a really high chance, a really high probability that this is not going to end well for me. I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to sign my name, knowing that in probably a year, 2, 3, 4 years from now, I'll probably be hanged. I'm going to be executed. Imagine, I mean, I think for a lot of us, you know, we think about our wives, our children, all of that. They did too. And they did it anyway. That's the definition of courage or bravery. The definition of courage or bravery is that you know the danger, you know the threat, you know the consequence, and you do it anyway. So, guys, for this July 4th weekend, can I encourage you, I mean, in our own current state of affairs here in the United States, maybe you're watching this from other parts of the world, maybe you're facing similar things. I don't know. It's happened in other places, not just the U.S., you know, but we've seen this in Britain. We've seen this in France, of course, French Revolution. We've seen this other places around the world where people together have seen, you know what, our civil magistrate is held in trust by the people. And I'm part of the people. And so, guys, if you want to support your freedoms and the liberty of your family, then you need to take action. You can't just sit by. So this means calling your representatives, your senators, that kind of thing. It means taking action vocally, social media, I mean, everything you can. But you're not alone. So if you decide to do this, if you decide to stand up for your freedoms, your liberties today, because in every generation, it must be preserved. If you don't fight for your freedoms and liberties, then who will? Who's going to do it? Are you dependent on someone else to do that for you? I'm grateful for the courage and the bravery of these 56 men who put their name to that list. Because if it were not for them and that courage and that bravery, then we in the U.S. at least would not have that same kind of freedom, protection, liberty for ourselves and for our future posterity. But we do, and I'm grateful for that. So, guys, I hope you really have a great 4th of July this weekend. I hope you can celebrate the freedoms that you do have. I hope you can celebrate and honor those who have given their lives that we might have those freedoms. But thanks so much for your support for us, for this channel. If you've not done so, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video.